So, as a developer, really putting something in a test and creating a video for it will actually make you realize some of the gaps in your thinking. And when you talk about something like an email feature for PH readings, you got to start thinking about how to format that. And I don't want to be overly prescriptive. One of the goals here is to let people implement it in a way that they think is smart, but give them ideas about potential perils and pitfalls. So you're not telling them how to do it. What you're saying is, here is something you need to consider in the process, and here's how I might start thinking about this. Depending on how junior the developer is, that'll be more or less useful. Some will say, well, I've got a good idea for this, and others will say, well, thank you for giving me that clarity. So in the case of PH, I would just say, let's do a comma separated value, and let's do PH, lat, and long, and those will be our columns. And then we'll do a value, and then we'll do another value. I don't even know if these are valid, and I'm just going to write some random ones. So this is a pretty succinct format that lets me know what the column names are going to be, and it also lets me assume that only the first two lines of the email matter. And then I could just ignore this. I could ignore the signature. I could ignore the subject. We could have, you could say something about when the readings are from, but the subject may be better to ignore. Other formats people might decide would say, well, I actually want to put the Latin long in the subject, and they may want to do something like this. I see slightly more peril with that because it's less consistent, and it's a more complicated thing to just figure out than you're parsing a subject and the text. But whatever they do, just let them know that there is a value to consistency. You don't want to control the implementation here, but you do want to go a step further than, say, a product owner or a product manager, telling them how you might think the feature would work and letting them go beyond that. Talk about other things too, like case sensitivity and the fact that you don't want to parse anything else, including email signatures or replies or anything else that the users might enter. Just giving all this data will be super useful to these users. And then once you have the video, I'm just going to pretend as if we've already recorded this video. You just take that video and you throw it right on the same Trello issue. So this is where you're just kind of doubling down on the information you're providing. And some people might call this a bit too prescriptive, but as a developer, as a technical person, once again, what you're trying to do is just give them some direction of what you're thinking, the way you'd approach this problem, but try not to be prescriptive in the process.